Hello and welcome to another edition of Health Solutions with Shawn and Janet Needham, where Team Needham discusses everything healthcare. I'm your host, Shawn Needham, along with my wonderful wife, Janet, and we are super excited to have Ariana Hakman on our show today to talk about a fitness secret called LunaFit. She's going to share her story and her journey. And Ariana, welcome to our show.
Good morning. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
So the first thing I Google when I Google your name is the first thing that pops up is this: one mom's leap of faith becomes a wellness solution for thousands. So tell me a little bit about that story.
Yeah. I have a pretty variable background. So I haven't just been in one industry. I did grow up in a very active lifestyle. I was always active. I just by chance took my first bodybuilding class in college and just happened to love it. And also took a nutrition class, and it happened to be taught by a man who was morbidly obese, and he actually struggled to walk up the stairs. And for some reason that triggered in me, because he was teaching me about nutrition, a deep need to research it myself, and understand what nutrition was. Is this old book that I'm learning from in college really telling me anything meaningful? So I started, looking into both fitness and nutrition at a very young age. But I graduated with an accounting degree and went to work for a large healthcare organization in finance and accounting. So I actually worked in healthcare finance and operations for 15 years. And just being on the inside of that and seeing what went on, and there were some wonderful things about it. I think medicine has its place, but there was also some really dark sides on the financial side and on the operating side. And when I had my daughter, her name is Luna. That's where where
That's
LunaFit
awesome.
comes from. Yeah. When I had her, it just didn't feel meaningful anymore what I was doing, and so I left that job. And there's that moment of panic where you're like, what did I just do? And the only other thing I'd ever been interested in or knew anything about was, nutrition and fitness. And so I started teaching mommy and me classes with her strapped to me, and, helping new moms lose weight and, feel good in their bodies again, and teach them that they didn't have to kill themselves on a treadmill to get there. And it's just blossomed from there. My husband and I ended up purchasing a gym. We became personal trainers. We started a meal prep company and a supplement company. And our latest endeavor is the LunaFit app. Because when we got shut down for COVID, it was an eye opener because we took everything online. We rented out our equipment to our members. One thing we will do is figure stuff out. So we rented our equipment out to our members. We live streamed our classes in a Facebook member group, and it just made us realize that we could do this for more than just our neighborhood. And so, we've been working on this app, and we launched it, and we're trying to make it basically a personal training experience through the amazing things we have in technology these days with AI and all of that it feels like you're training with us, because people do need that accountability and connection and things like that when they're trying to make a change. But really having Luna was kind of the pivotal moment of, okay, I want to actually do something that impacts people's life in a positive way.
What a wonderful story. So I got to back a little bit. It sounds like your experience with healthcare was similar to our experience with healthcare. So, Jan and I have been in healthcare in pharmacy for over 30 years now. And, one of the things about it is, and I can imagine you working in finance, some of the scams and the ripoff that go on in the healthcare industry with health insurance is just, it's almost unbelievable. It's legal.
Insane. Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
And you'll get a copy of my book called Sickened: How the Government Ruined Healthcare and How to Fix It, for being on the show. And it's when you're billing insurance in healthcare, it is a very, very, there's some unethical practices that go on. And
100%.
Yeah. And not just with the finances, but with people's health too. And it's really hard to be in that industry if you're in and billing insurance and do it ethically. I will say that, and that's one of
Yeah.
the reasons Jan and I got out, and we talk health and wellness, we do hormones, and we don't bill any insurance because we want to be ethical with the people we look in the eye.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And, I think that God really did me a favor getting me out of healthcare before COVID hit, because I would have left. And it would have been a much harder time to leave, because I wouldn't have. I'm not taking the shot. I'm not doing all of those things that I don't believe in, and I don't believe should be forced on other people either. And so that would have been a very difficult time for me to be in healthcare. But it was actually such a blessing to be on the other side of it, where we could help people understand that they can be healthy even during this crazy time and beyond it and throughout their whole lives, and how being healthy really does help. And it really was hard to watch. I worked for a wonderful organization, and I do believe that there is a need for them, and that they think they're doing their best.
Yeah.
But the things I saw and heard, and it's crazy to me that the United States is the only country that advertises pharmaceuticals on television. Like that, when I found that out, it just blew my mind. Like, oh wait, people go to their doctors and get prescribed instead of them going to their doctors and telling them what they want to take. Like, it just shouldn't be driven. It's so money and power driven that it's just so backwards, and
Well, it truly is. I mean, our healthcare system in the United States is run by insurance companies and drug companies. I mean, they
yes.
control it, and those two collude together to rip off people. I mean, they literally do.
Yep.
So let's go back to. I love your fitness app. I want to talk more about it, and I'm with you, Ariana. Is that technology is so cool now that there is no reason that you shouldn't be able to work out. I mean, because there is, we get calls all the time, or texts and questions about, what's the best program should I do? And I mean, there are so many options out there. So tell us about LunaFit and why it's different.
Yeah, so there's a few things that made our businesses different from the start, that we've translated into our app and then been able to expand on. The first is that we actually care about our clients. It's a real thing for us. When we started our gym, we didn't want to be a big box gym where everybody came in and we didn't care if they came or not. And our goal was just to have so many members that paid our bills. It was really to bring people in and care about them and help them get results, and make sure that they understood that they could live a healthy lifestyle, and this could be a lifestyle change, not a short temporary fix, and really teach them, the 5 basic things that you need to do in order to live a healthy lifestyle, and that it didn't have to be hard. And, that was a big foundation in our business. Making it simple, making it sustainable, and caring about our clients. And really those 3 pillars are what we've translated into the app as well. And then accountability on top of that, right? That's like that key word, I think, when you're trying to make any change in body composition, is accountability. It's really hard to do stuff on your own. And the knowledge gap, and then just the translating, the motivation that you might have into discipline
Yeah.
is really what makes it work. So, in the app, we have our 5 pillars of health, which is movement. We do it as steps, fitness, lifting weights, sleep, hydration, and then nutrition. And we break them down in simple ways, and we use, AI coaching to hold them accountable. And we actually, follow up even in the app on results. Like, are you getting the results you want? No. Okay, let's assess that and figure out, what's not working, and really moving people towards that goal.
I love it. I was really curious to know what the 5 things are, because Jan and I talk about 3 things all the time, and it's basically sleep, diet, and movement or exercise.
Yes.
And really, it's really it really is that simple, but it's not that simple. Because you do need accountability. Janet, what do you have to say?
Well, you touched on something really early with your journey about people teaching us things, but they weren't walking the walk. And I feel like that is so true in healthcare, or sick care, what Shawn and I call that model. And I think the difference is that your success is partly because you believe people can make a change in their life and they can educate themselves with tools and with the help of people that really are living it. I think that's the encouraging part, because for so long, Shawn and I were looking at the picture of people that were just, listening to their doctor and taking one new medication after the other versus lifestyle. So I think you touched on something that was really smart. Is like, you knew better really early on. And I think people do know better.
And it looks like we lost Ariana. Speaking of technology, I'm sure she's going to try to get back on. So as she's trying to log back on, those three things that we talk about: sleep, diet, and exercise. Ariana, welcome back.
Sorry about that. I don't know what
That's
happened.
all right. That's all right.
My internet looks strong, but you never know. As we're talking about how great technology is, right?
I was just saying that when you came back in. Speaking of technology.
Yeah, exactly. It's great until it's not.
Janet was just talking about the 5 things that you talk about, and walking the walk. In healthcare, one of the things that just makes us, how many doctors, how many nurses out there talk about people being, they want to put you on all these drugs to make your health better, yet they're 100 pounds overweight.
Yeah.
Or more.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and here's the analogy I use in my book, and I talk about it to patients is, would you go to a dentist that has crooked yellow teeth? No.
Yeah.
Would you go to a personal trainer that is overweight? I wouldn't. If the personal trainer does not look better than me, or does not have a better history than me, and whatever our goals are, I'm not going to go to him.
Yeah, it is interesting. It does seem to be one of the only industries where people don't use the knowledge on themselves, but they still give it to others. I always talk about how doctors give out nutrition advice, but some of the worst nutrition advice I've ever heard or received, especially actually from my pediatrician for my daughter, was from doctors. And it's something, for some reason, that our society has placed that they're expected to give advice on, but they don't have education on it or experience sometimes. And so you're like, okay, that's great. Did you read that in a book? Or, oh, wait, I see the sponsorship on the back of your door is what you're giving me advice on. And it goes back to what you said of how the medical industry is run in our country. And so nutrition advice should come from experts. And I do think there's been a shift. There's a few doctors that you see coming out very publicly now and saying the things that we're talking about right now. This is medicine. And pharmaceuticals and things like that should be used for true illnesses and disease, not things that can be fixed by lifestyle changes and just doing the right things for your body.
And over 85% of all chronic diseases are lifestyle caused. So, most all drugs are unnecessary, chronically speaking.
I agree. I love to hear that from experts. It's so refreshing to hear that from experts too.
And Janet has a question, but I want you to tell us what nutrition advice was bad that was given to your daughter. Janet, you go first.
No, I want to hear.
Okay. Yeah. So what nutrition advice was bad? Because we have stories too.
There was a lot. First of all, my daughter did have some jaundice because, breastfeeding is a struggle, but it's the best thing that we can do for our babies if we can. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to push through. But they told me to give her formula, which I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't think I have to. So I put her out in the sun. Crazy. And I kept breastfeeding her. And amazingly enough, crazy. They told me to put juice in her bottle. I don't know why, but I'm like, am I trying to give her diabetes? And they told me that her first cereal should be Gerber's rice cereal. But I opted for hard-boiled egg yolk and avocado instead. I got a lot of really bad advice, nutritionally speaking. And the thing that really broke my heart is I thought about how many women took that advice blindly because they're presenting themselves as the experts.
Well, a little bit of history about breastfeeding, just so you know, and this will be good knowledge because you're in the healthcare industry and you're in the fitness industry now, is that speaking of formula, I mean, just this is how strong the big pharma lobby is in healthcare. So back when I was born in the early 70s, big pharma came out with formula. And so they were really starting to push all these studies that breastfeeding wasn't healthy. And that you're better to feed your kid formula. I mean, it's almost unbelievable. And,
It really is.
and right. And if you've heard of the formula Simulac, the name Simulac means simulated lactation. So these drug reps would go into the doctor's office and say how much better this was than breast milk. I mean, it blows my mind.
Yeah, mine too.
And I will say, if we had to do it all over again, of course we breastfed, but if we had to do it all over again with the diet thing, and Jen and I weren't as knowledgeable about diet then, and we were still trusting a lot of the pediatrician stuff with vaccines and all that kind of stuff back then.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. COVID definitely woke us up on the vaccine issue. We were waking up with statins and cholesterol and all that way long ago. But I mean, I would have, we would have breastfed as much as we could, and I would have started feeding my kids raw milk and meat and eggs as soon as they could eat it. Yeah. I mean, seriously, why not? And because what have we done as humans for thousands of years? That's exactly what we did. We did as much as they could sustain themselves on breast milk, and then if they couldn't, we just fed them real food, the same good food we were eating. None of this freaking formula stuff.
Yeah. Yep. Totally agree. Yeah. And luckily, luckily I did some research and actually, figured out, because at that time, I really didn't know that much. I knew how I should eat, but I'd never had a baby before. I'd never done anything, but I just knew from what I knew for myself that I was getting bad advice for my daughter. And so I did my research and, really looked into it. And I did end up, even then, it just made me nervous. So I did all the shots, but I did it very extended. And now looking back, it's like amazing. You get, you evolve and you learn more and you grow more. And now if I were to have another child, I would even do all of that differently. But progress, right? Progress, not perfection.
Right. So Janet, you had a question or a comment?
No, we kind of covered it, but I do think, one of the fallacies about nutrition, especially for children, is that we took away the protein and the nutrients of good fats and cholesterol because we have vilified our natural need. And if we look at breast milk, you can't just, go into a lab and simulate it like they did. But if you look at, even we've talked about this with other podcasts about the nutrients in just an egg alone. Like if you are looking at from, the eggs that we eat nutritionally, I mean, that's to sustain a life. So why should we think it's any different? I mean, we were kind of fed the lie that, it's because of allergies. And it's like, well, we never, ever came to the point of why is all these people out there, children, having all these allergies. And when I was in school and Shawn was in school, hardly anybody had an allergy to anything.
Same.
And now it's right. And the other part of it that I think is very fascinating is that, when I reached out to my mom, she's like, well, just feed them real food.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
like, what?
Hello. What? You don't go to the store and, I mean, what a concept.
Yeah. Yeah. Just let them eat what you're eating if you think you're eating healthy. Like,
exactly. Right.
Huh.
Right.
I never thought of that. Literally never thought of it because that's not what people tell you.
No.
Yeah.
No, it's all about making sure your child didn't develop any allergies to things.
So introduce food slowly, but inject 7 vaccines today.
Yeah. No, it really is mind-boggling. And when you say it, it doesn't sound right, but somehow the way they say it to most people, everyone's like, oh yes. I'm like, no. So yeah, I just being able to transition out of healthcare and into a place where, we could help moms and people and, all of the people that are getting this bad information, just do things differently and not make it so hard and not have to overthink it, and kind of clarify some of the information. I think just it feels good. It's a good thing to do for a living.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jan, I feel the same about what we do. We can look ourselves in the mirror every day and say, you know what? we're doing the right thing. And
Yeah.
if we were in the traditional healthcare system, we did not feel that way at all. We were going to get out. We were going to do something different or change our practice, and we changed our practice.
Yeah.
And we believe it's pretty powerful to have two pharmacists that don't believe in drugs to treat long-term disease. So we preach that.
Very powerful.
Yeah. And because the first thing people say is like, wait a minute, you're a pharmacist, you don't believe in this? No, we should probably listen to you guys, maybe. So, but we've been called crazy by a lot of our colleagues, that's for sure.
I'm sure. Yeah. I had people tell me that I was this awful mom. And, I remember during COVID, I was in Target with my daughter. She was four-ish, and I didn't have a mask on. And this couple literally screamed at me in front of my child and berated me. I'm just like, okay, this is what society is coming to. Like, they're making you crazy. Like, they're terrifying you to a place where you would yell at a mom with her small child in a store. They took their mask off to yell at me too, just to be clear, so that I could really understand the words they were saying. I thought that was really ironic. But it's that, and it was amplified during that time, but it's that all the time. Like, people read this information and they don't do their own research, and they get very attached to it, and it becomes their Bible. And then they feel like everybody else should believe that too. But if we all just took in all the information we got and did research and found out what we really thought, I think it would be really different.
Absolutely. So that's one of our goals of this podcast, is to educate and empower individuals to take charge of their own health.
Yeah, I love that.
Make their own choices without mandates, without extortion. They should be able to make their own personal health choices. So
yes.
More about the LunaFit app. Is it? I mean, I'm assuming it's an app where you download it on the App Store, either Apple or
Google. Yep, it's on both. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Where does it go from there? LunaFit. I imagine it's under LunaFit. And where does it go from there? What happens from there?
Yep. So we call it the LunaFit Health and Fitness Coach, because that's really the goal, is that, we give you this app, but we want it to feel kind of like a personal trainer in your pocket. So, you'll go through an onboarding process, which right now it's, you're answering questions, you're going in and typing stuff in, but super cool. With the power of AI, it's in September, it's going to actually become a conversation. So you can imagine if you were to come into a gym and meet with your personal trainer, and they would have a conversation with you to onboard you and ask you about your current diet habits and what your goals are. That's going to be the onboarding in the app. So it's going to feel like a very personal experience, because that's what it should be. So you go through the onboarding process, and then we actually give you personalized plans, just like we would here. So all of the nutrition calculations of what we're recommending you eat in a day and the meals we're recommending are what we would do with a client here. So we've actually built those ourselves. How much fat I would ask people to eat, carbs, proteins, really a good macro breakdown. Same thing with hydration and step goals and your fitness plan. It's all personalized to you. So it's what I would do if a client were to come in and ask me for a plan, and I were to walk them through it. And then we've also gamified it, which to me is a real incentive for people. Even I do better at fitness goals when I have some sort of a challenge, or there's an endpoint and a reward.
Yeah.
So you earn what's called moon rocks when you achieve your goals in the app every day. And we have streaks and all the things that can make health and fitness fun. And we'll show you.
Did you say moon rocks?
Moon rocks.
I got to say, Ariana, I mean, not only were you in healthcare and, in the fitness industry, but you're a marketing genius. I mean, LunaFit and then moon rocks. I mean, that is just, if that was your idea, I mean, kudos to you.
I have a team, I will say. I have great minds around me. Not only my husband, but I do also have some really great marketing people that have contributed. I don't remember whose idea Moon Rocks is, but I agree with you. I totally love it.
Well, because Luna means moon.
Yes, and that's So we took it. We rebranded a few years ago, and we're like, okay, if we're gonna do this, let's do it right. So we really did. We took the space theme all the way. So the app is actually space themed. Like when I'm your coach, I'm in like an astronaut suit, and we have the moon rocks, and the 5 pillars are actually orbiting around a moon. So we're very branded with the whole thing, which I also think adds a really fun differentiator to it. It's very engaging. You want to be like, okay, what does this piece look like? What does this do? So it's been a fun and amazing experience. And even just already seeing people, that aren't in our direct market get results in the app is it's really exciting just to see from here where we're going to go, so.
That's awesome. So do you have people love to hear success stories. So tell us a success story that you have, somebody that went through the LunaFit app and had a life-changing experience.
Yeah. So, speaking of the medical, the medical profession, I honestly think that nurses have some of the most difficult times with health journeys because of the way they're treated. Hospitals preach health, but they treat their employees worse than almost any other industry. They are expected to work 12-hour shifts on their feet. They barely get bathroom breaks, no time to eat. It's something that I saw that was very tough to watch. So we had a nurse that needed to lose quite a bit of weight. And so we got her all set up in the app. And she started using it, and it gave her little things to do. It broke goals down into smaller things. It said, okay, this is what you need to eat, and here's how you can break it down into 5 meals so that, you might be cramming something in your mouth, in the middle of your shift, but still making it possible. Helped her track her sleep and her hydration, because she wasn't getting enough water and she just didn't realize it, because a lot of times if you're not tracking, you don't actually know what you're doing.
Yeah, right.
So it really just helped her dial things in, and she's down about 50 pounds at this point, and working towards her goal and doing really well. And it's kind of modeled. One of my first personal training clients was a nurse in a hospital, and she ended up losing 150 pounds with me. And she wanted the American dream. She'd never had a boyfriend. She wanted the husband and the kids and the white picket fence. And kind of the pinnacle of that experience for me was getting to attend her wedding of a guy that she had met, after she'd lost significant weight with me, and she started dating him. And now they live in a house, and they have a daughter, and she's just living out the dream that she had presented to me as her why. And being able to give that to someone makes it so meaningful. So being able to translate that into an app and see it working, and, knowing, okay, I can reach more people, than I could before, is really what it just makes it so exciting.
I love it. What a wonderful story. So as we wrap this podcast up, Ariana, tell us what you have a passion for.
So, I have a passion for the health of America. That's a big thing for me. I look at the health crisis that we're in the middle of, and that over 50% of our population is overweight, and most of them considered morbidly obese. And it breaks my heart, and it's something that I know is fixable. That's the thing. You look at some things and you're like, I can't affect that. But to me, that's something that I can affect. And my passion is to be able to actually move that number. That's what I'm looking for.
I totally resonate with that. There's a part in the book where one of our patients died, and she ate herself to death, and she said that. And she was a beautiful human being, and it's just tragic what we've done. And it was kind of pivotal for us. It's like, no, this is not, this journey for people needs to be different.
Yeah.
We need to empower them to be able to succeed, which good for you that you found that space, because it does feel good at the end of the day to look in the mirror and say, I helped somebody today.
Yeah.
I mean, that journey in itself is amazing for yourself, but that person that has a family that you helped, or that other person that decided to make that choice, just with simple things that you've broken it down into things that they can incorporate, is amazing. So good for you.
Thank you. And I love what you guys are doing. I love that you're from the medical field and you have this vision as well. I think it's super meaningful. And I think the more of us that kind of wake up to the truth and what needs to be done, the better off it'll be. And I feel like I do see that happening. And I hope it's a trend that continues.
Jan, I've been doing this for almost 30 or over 30 years. And there is not a better time to be in the health and wellness industry than now. I mean, I don't think, as much as our federal government is trying to promote it, I don't think our federal government's the answer. I think the federal government is one of the ones that ruined our health.
Yeah.
But at least it's it's out in conversation.
Yes, exactly.
And it can help us influence people. So,
yes.
So I love what's going on. It's a cool time to be a pharmacist that doesn't believe in drugs.
Yes, it is.
So as we wrap this up, tell us what's the best way to get a hold of you if people have any questions.
Yeah, so you can go on our website, lunafit.com, and you can reach me through there. You can also reach out to us on Instagram at LunaFit app. My personal Instagram is at LunaFit Mom if you have any specific questions for me. And we would love to hear from anyone and everyone. And you can also download the app at lunafit.com. So make sure to check it out. We give you a 7-day free trial up front. And if you're excited about it now, you'll be blown away with what we're releasing in September. So
I love it. I also love that your podcast studio is very lunar also, right? I'm sure that's by design.
It is. I'm telling you, my team, they're great.
That's awesome.
They come up with awesome stuff.
Well, Ariana, make sure that when we wrap this up, I want to hang on just for a minute because I want to talk to you after the show.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Ariana, for being on our show. You've helped us realize our goal, which is to educate and empower individuals to take charge of their own health. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I loved it.
And listeners and viewers, thank you for tuning in to Health Solutions with Shawn and Janet Needham. Tune in Monday to our regularly scheduled podcast, 12:30 to 1:30 Pacific Standard Time. Thank you.